Our fifth inductee for the 2017 Hall of Fame class is known for hitting some of the longest home runs ever witnessed in the game. When you talk about champion slow-pitch softball players in the game, Mark Martin is one of the names that comes to mind. With a playing career that spanned over 20 years, Mark was an unselfish teammate who inspired his fellow teammates both on and off the field. A 7-time All-American, Mark Martin was a member of 4 national championship teams as a member of Bell Corps. In 1989, he was selected to play in the Olympic Festival at the USA Softball Hall of Fame Stadium and led the East team with a .743 batting average. Known for hitting some of the longest home runs ever witnessed in the game, Martin had a 535-foot home run recorded in 2009 in Las Vegas while playing in the 50 and over division for Hollis Appraisals at a senior national championship. His dominance in the game helped earn him the title of Outstanding Softball Player by the Orlando Amateur Athletic Association 3 times, and he is also a member of the Orlando Hall of Honor. Mark Martin also contributed to the game through his role on the Wilson Sporting Goods Advisory staff from 1990 until 1997. Tonight, Mark becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Martin.
Make it easier to sing, yeah. Make it easier to sing, yeah.
Good evening. You know, it's you hear some of the same adjectives and descriptions from me that you've heard from the other 4. And I did mention to Jimmy that if I ever said anything improper on the softball field in the game that he umpired, that we could talk about it afterwards. I'll give him a full apology. I'm also just humbled and blessed to be here. I want to thank Carlton Benton for nominating me for this honor. I have a whole bunch of folks that are watching live stream right now. My folks are older, couldn't make the trip, so Mom and Dad, if you can see this, thank you. My brother Tom gets a special nod. I have 3 brothers. There's 4 of us. We're 5.5 years apart, and we grew up. We competed against and with each other in everything we did. My brothers are all better athletes than I was when we were younger. Tom was probably the best athlete. My brother Jeff, who's here, was definitely the best all-around athlete. But Tom was one of those guys that drew people around him. So when we began to get out of baseball and began to play softball, he had to kind of encourage his friends to allow me to play. I wasn't that good in baseball. It's because for you fast pitch guys, when it comes really hard, I couldn't deal with that. But if you toss it up there nice and easy, things change for me. It worked in my favor that way. But we began playing softball together, and it was a family thing. There was actually at least one year where my brothers, Bob, Tom, and Jeff, and I made up an entire infield. So it was a family event. Bob went off and did his own thing, and Jeff and Tom and I won some city and state championships together. And in 1983, Larry Lawson from Lawson Auto Parts asked me if I would join his team. And I was kind of hooked from there. I began to travel around the country playing softball, and got real active in ASA and really enjoyed the game. 6 years ago, my wife and I were taken by work out of Orlando. We moved to Northwest Arkansas, and we were blessed to meet Pastor Billy Kaufman in the Victory Church in Northwest Arkansas, and he talks a lot about legacy and generations. And that's what I wanted to speak about tonight. I wanted to talk a little bit about generational how generational softball can be and the legacy of the relationships that you can build. So I've mentioned the fact that my brothers and I played together. Well, my wife and I played co-ed together. Alex, I'm not sure what happened. He went and took a different path. He went and played college volleyball. But he's still a good softball player. He just has different passion, that's all. But our son Scott also competes at a high level. So you mentioned the military piece. That's where he plays. He plays military ball. So we have that family generational tie to the game of softball. Then there's friendships. I'm going to say probably in the 80s, my brother Bob was playing football and played against Randy Eisenhart, who's here with his wife Beth tonight. They competed against each other, and a few years after that, we all began to play softball together. So 30 plus years ago, we forged a friendship on the ball field, and we played together all through 1996 or 97, including on Belcourt, and that friendship is strong today. So thanks for being here. Some of the finest people that I know and have had the honor to be associated with, I've met through the game of softball. In 1994, I had the opportunity to be the speaker to introduce Pat and Woody Bell at their induction into the ASA Hall of Fame. It was an honor to do that, and it's an honor to be here tonight. Woody's gone, Pat's still here, and if you knew Pat and Woody, we always talked about Woody's team, but if you knew Pat and Woody, you knew it was really Pat's team. I've had great teammates over the years. Many of them I've got very close relationships with today. But surprisingly, some of the best friendships I have are with the men that I competed against. You form a bond with those that you're teammates with. You invest so much time, some weeks out of a year. You might spend 3 or 4 days, 15, 16, 20 weeks a year with your teammates, but they kind of change over the years. But you compete against the same group of folks over a long period of time. I want to say a special shout out to Mike Masinko, if he's watching. Mike, you set an example for all of us. You're a great ambassador to the game of softball. You connect one era to the next. You work tirelessly at that, and that's something I think we can all take notice of, because in today's world, there's so much to be divisive about. It's just time that we start looking for investing in one another and find things that we can have in common and share together, and we'll all be stronger for that. I want to take a moment and I want to tell the story about the Taylor family. Many years ago, they had 2 daughters, and they invested in Shane and Shanna, my wife. They traveled all over the state of Arkansas and all over the Midwest, and they invested in their daughters. When girls slow pitch softball, they didn't have fast pitch back then, and they competed at the highest levels. They had fast pitch, I wasn't aware of it for the kids back then. I'm sorry if I'm anything. But I met my wife, and we began to play co-ed together. But what's interesting is the legacy that comes from that. Sitting over here in the audience is my 10-year-old great niece Emma. She travels around the country now, playing in the 12 and under division as a catcher on a traveling team. So she's not in the 8th grade yet. She must be one to watch. You know, we talk about the people that make an impact, and I could mention a lot of names, but I'm sure that I'd miss a few. But I do want to talk about, as a player, it's different, because you need people that will invest in you in time so that you can work and hone your craft. Many people have the ability to play at the highest levels, but not everyone's given the opportunity. So when you are given the opportunity, it's up to you to cash in on it. Well, in 1983, Larry Lawson gave me that opportunity. And Larry Lawson is also an example of someone that had a generational connection, because his mother and father sponsored a team. And Larry continued that. And he made it a family effort. his mom and dad would actually fix sandwiches for us. They'd buy lunch meats and things, so that when we played tournaments, they would basically fix us lunches all day long while we played. Pat and Woody Bell also exemplified that. Well, I walked away from the game in 1997 and only played a little bit for the next 10 years, but I met Audie and Kurt Hollis about 10 years ago. And this kind of brings this whole legacy and generations things back full circle. Audie's youngest daughter, Ainsley, is now married to my oldest son. So we have a family connection, and we have a granddaughter and another one on the way, so the legacy will continue. But when I was talking about investing in time, there's people that will never get recognized unless you just mention them. These are folks that will go out, pick up the phone, back then it was a rotary phone, we dial the rotary phone, and call until somebody would answer. And we'd say, hey, do you want to go hit? There's always a few guys that I could count on, no matter what, that they would go hit. So I want to say a special thanks to Big Mike Williams. I want to say a special thanks to retired Orange County Major Dennis Leonard. I'd like to say a special thanks to Mike Wismer. And I want to just say one last special thanks, and that's to my wife. Would you stand up, sweetheart? It's kind of scary. A year ago today, I'm in the back of the house and I hear a scream. And I come running out and ask, what in the world is going on? And she says, you've just been named a 2017 inductee. I said, what? How did I get nominated? Then I thought, you knew about this? She said, yes. I said, how long have you known about this? About a year. And I got to thinking, I'm honored, I'm humbled, but you can keep a secret that long. But on behalf of all of those that are going to be sharing the stage tonight, I want to say thank you. And I want to just again lift up all those that may be watching. Aim high. If you miss, you still may accomplish a great deal, because if you aim low and get it, you may regret it later. Thank you all very much.
Our next inductee is a six-time All-American who was touted for his strong defensive play at second base. With a career at the major level,